Hey folks, what's going on? It's Friday, April 24th, 2026. Left the house about 30 minutes ago and I am headed to Fort Worth Harley Davidson. Gonna go up here and test ride a couple of bikes. I got the demo truck there today and tomorrow, and it's nice weather outside today. It started out kind of overcast, but then the sun came out, calling for rain tomorrow, so I figured I'd come up here today and test ride a couple of things. Actually, three things I've got targeted if time allows. I want to test ride the Heritage Softail, the Lowrider S, and the Lowrider ST. I actually test drove the Heritage and the Lowrider ST at Bikes, Blues, and Barbecue a few years ago, I think 2 or 3 years ago. So at the time, the Heritage had the 114, the Lowrider S did have the 117, but it was the Gen 1 117. It was before they came out with these Gen 2 Milwaukee 8 engines a few years ago. And you know, first impressions, the Heritage was the Heritage, right? It's, you know, the saddlebags, the windshield, the classic old panhead look with a modern engine. And I mean, it had plenty of power with the 114. These 114s really have, you know, a ton of power compared to any stock twin cam. So the power was, you know, definitely there. But man, when I hopped on the Lowrider ST, it was like a night and day difference. My understanding is it's got a little hotter cam in it, you know, plus 3 more cubic inches, which isn't much, but it was definitely awake compared to the Heritage, so that was great. Really liked the power on it. You know, it's got the twin disc brakes. They were real grabby, but not overbearing. And you know, I guess just general first impression was the Heritage was nice and plush, smooth ride with plenty of power to carry anywhere across the United States and beyond. And the Lowrider ST was just super sporty, man. You could tell it was performance based, better brakes, better suspension. It's got the upside down front forks, and so I was really impressed with that. The only con I had on the ST, the only thing I didn't like was the foot peg position. It's got some relatively high foot pegs. Of course, the Heritage has floorboards. They're all the same frame, you know, just a different setup, different engine build, different transmission and brake system. But the foot pegs are so high on the Lowrider S because that's Harley's wink performance bike, and that way it gives it a lot more cornering clearance, which is great, but it is at the expense of comfort. I'm 6 foot tall even, and it was borderline, you know, painful. I think it'd be great for around town, you know, maybe 200 or 300 mile days, but anything over that I'd have to probably retrofit it with some floorboards. So anyway, that was kind of my first take, but I want to go up here and ride them. And then also I threw in the Lowrider S into the mix. I'd like to ride it because it's essentially the same bike as the Lowrider ST, but it does not have the full fairing on it like the old FXR type fairing is what I'm calling it. I'm sure there's an official name for it. It's got more of just a little West Coast, you know, what can I call it? Just a little mini shield that goes around the headlight. You know, I guess like a West Coast type fairing or something like that. So I really wanted to compare the new Lowrider S and the ST back to back and see what the wind blast was like on the S. I'm sure it's pretty violent. Of course, you could retrofit it with one of those larger West Coast windshields to get some of the air off of you, but my thinking is I really love the Lowrider ST, but is it worth $5 grand more for a set of saddlebags and a, you know, nice fairing? And it really looks good, but that's a big pill to swallow, paying $5 grand for that. You could probably go to some aftermarket manufacturer like, what's the one, Advanta Black or Anta Black, whatever it is. They make all the plastic parts with the color match paint. You could probably do it cheaper by just putting the fairing on from them, but I've also heard some mixed reviews on their parts. You know, some of them cracking, some of the instructions and stuff are not clear, which, you know, I can figure that out. But if you're going to go spend $1 grand or $1,500 on a fairing, you don't want it to crack or anything like that. I just like everything else, man. I mean, there's some exceptions, especially when it comes to engine parts, suspension, and otherwise. But man, with the paint and the plastic, in my opinion, the Harley OEM stuff is pretty tough to beat. But of course, if you're wanting to retrofit a bike with the ST fairing, I'm sure Harley charges a ton for that, especially if it's color matched. So anyway, getting a little off topic, but yeah, I want to go up, I want to ride the Heritage, and if there's time, I want to ride the ST and then the S, Lowrider S, back to back and see which one I like, because at some point I'm going to buy another bike, and you know, if it is a Harley, it's more than likely going to be one of those three. Those are the ones that have my eye. I'm on Project 124 now. I have no need for another touring bike. I spent a ton of money and time getting this bike to be exactly what I want it to be, and it's only got, you know, fixing to have 22,000 miles on it. So this bike has a lot of life left in it. You know, I've converted it to 124, hence the name Project 124. It's putting 122 horsepower to the ground. It's got a set of Öhlins on the back, and when I have to do the 25,000 mile front fork service, I'm going to convert it to Öhlins. So I really have no desire to buy another touring bike because this thing is doing everything I want and beyond, and I'm extremely happy. I've got the tour pack on it, got the lowers. Everybody thinks this thing is a, you know, a Road Glide Ultra, but it's not. It's just a Road Glide, not even a special, just a standard Road Glide that I've retrofitted over time with all this stuff, and real happy with it. So anyway, that's kind of what we're doing today. We're coming into Weatherford now. I took 51 up so I didn't have to go through the abortion that is Granbury and get sidetracked there for an extra hour with traffic. And hopefully going to be at Harley here in a minute, and we'll see what the backlog is and sign up for a ride. So we'll check back in and have you guys go on the test ride with us, and we'll get some first impressions. All right, there it is, Fort Worth Harley, right by Fort Worth Indian. It's kind of funny, they're in the same parking lot. But yeah, I see the demo truck over there, so we'll go down here, get turned around, and be there momentarily. Yes, it's like Motorcycle Row in Fort Worth. You got Honda, Kawasaki, then Harley, then Indian. So, yeah, there's a few people here today. Cool, cool. We'll get signed up and then see how long it takes before we get to go do a ride. All right, we are staging up and getting ready to go.
Swag, you dragging?
Getting scanned here. Alright, scanned in with my Harley driving license, driver's license there. So this is the Lowrider ST. A little different. There's no, I guess you just cut it on and press start because there's no key. Maybe just fob only. Or the old Dyna's had a key up here. Doesn't look like anything here though. So I guess we'll see if I can figure it out. I'm assuming you just... Okay, so now it's activated. Yeah, so the kill switch is also the start switch, it appears. So we'll hit that in a minute. Alright, there we go. So first things first, let's turn this stupid traction control off. And then where are the ride modes? Because I definitely want this bitch in sport mode. Oh, there it is. Yep. Sport. All right. All right, on hold. Okay. I don't know if you could hear that. He just told us we're going in two groups. So I guess we got a, what does Harley call it? Their road captain up there. And I guess this guy's going to be the next. So. I can already tell the pegs are super high on this thing, just like the other one. So like I said, that's the only thing I'm not really a fan of. I like the way it sits, man. These bars fit me pretty good as is. That's really nice. Oh, we got a passenger. There he goes. Also, this is the chrome trim, which is kind of cool. I'm looking at that one. It's a little cheaper. They want $1,100 for the black trim instead of the chrome. I like chrome. right, and we're off. Man, clutch feels pretty good on this thing. Like I said, it's just the high pegs. I knew that when I came into it, so that was kind of a known. But all right, I guess I'm riding number 2 here. Feels pretty good, man. I really like this little mini fairing. I say not mini fairing, it's a large fairing, but smaller than the Road Glide, but you know, obviously bigger than the Lowrider S. It wraps around, and we'll see when we get up to speed, but so far, I mean, I know I'm only going 40 miles an hour, but no buffeting, just keeping the wind off of me. Throttle response is, at least when it revs, man, it feels really good. All right, so is my blinker on? I thought it was. Yeah, there we go. Oh, man. I see why the pegs are high, man. This thing's got a lot of cornering clearance. On the Heritage, it's probably been dragging already. They did caution against hot rodding, or they call it slingshotting, kind of like, you know, when you do a lap on the track and people hold back and then they haul ass to catch up with a group. They said no doing that, so I'll try not to. It's gonna be tough though. Oh yeah. Yeah, really, to test drive one of these, you kind of need to be off on your own. That's what I loved about BB&B, Bikes, Blues, and Barbecue. They essentially cut you loose and you're going straight down through Eureka Springs towards the, let's see, what would that be? I guess the east side of town. You get to take it out about 10 miles and turn around, so you get like 20 miles on it. And man, it feel, you know, that was awesome because you're on your own. You can really cut loose and romp on it. You know, this is kind of a little more controlled here, so. But yeah, I'm liking the way this bike feels, man. I know I've only been on it for 2 minutes, but I'm having flashbacks to the previous one I rode. Brake's got a lot of initial bite, it seems like. We'll see if we get up to speed somewhere. Yeah. Little nosedive, not too much. I heard the ST has like a different spring rate than the regular S because it's got this fairing on here, which this thing can't weigh that much, but it's frame mounted anyway, so it's not even really on the forks, but I guess just with this more weight up front, they do that. It's a nice compact dash. Compact, not dash, but, you know, a little fairing wraparound. The gauge here is pretty cool. I wish it had a tack. Actually, I guess it does. It's on tack right there, because there's, yeah, so it's tacking down there, but I really like a swinging needle, personally, for a tack. It's nice, it's got all the idiot lights and everything combined into a small cluster. The previous version of it had just like a little LCD or LED going across there, and I wasn't really a fan of that. All right, here we go. Yeah, clutch feel on this thing is really good. Brakes feel good initially. Everything's feeling pretty good so far. All right. I guess we're not getting on the highway. Maybe, okay, maybe we will down here. Fifth gear, 40 miles an hour. It got a little bit of bite to it. Like I said, it's just hard to, you really can't do too much in these groups. So, rear brake feels pretty good. Make sure I'm recording something. Yep, there we go. All right, now we're getting on the highway. See if this guy gasses it. Oh yeah. Fourth gear, 55 mile an hour. All right, I see the tail gunner back there got over. All right, fourth gear, 60 miles an hour, 65. It definitely barks a little bit when you gas it. Like I said, can't really follow through though. Sixth gear, 70 miles an hour, turning 2,530 RPM. Very nice and smooth. The buffeting is like non-existent for me with my 6-foot frame. Not blowing my helmet around at all. It's actually not even too bad on my legs, man. On my old Softail without a fairing, just naked bike, it blows your cuffs around on your legs. This is actually, let me slow down, I'm getting up too close on this guy. It's actually pretty measured, man. So I'm wondering if this, you know, these little flaps here do something with it. Yeah, happy with the wind management there. I know it was only like 5 minutes, hell, less than that, 2 minutes, but felt pretty good. Not a lot of vibration. I mean, it is a Softail. You can tell it's rigid mounted. I mean, hell, of course, even the big bikes, I think, are, well, are they rigid mounted? I don't know. I guess they got the counterbalancer, so maybe none of them are now. I'm not sure. I'd have to check on that, but vibration is not bad. It's obviously a lot less than my 88 Twin Cam B, my old Softail. But yeah, this feels great. Yeah, let's see, fifth gear. What's fifth gear at 70 miles an hour? Fifth gear is about 2,800 RPM. Sixth gear, about 2,300 RPM. Well, I faded back down to 65. Let's see, it's 70. 65 is 2,200 and sixth. There we go. Third gear, 45 mile an hour roll on. Damn. Some bitch rips pretty good. Especially for a stock bike, man. You imagine one of these with a 131 in it. That would be fun. Like I said, I think the only thing I've seen on this bike I don't like it or felt on it is the foot position. Great for cornering clearance, but just not comfortable for all-day riding. Of course, I'm sure if I'd lose about 60 pounds, it'd be a little easier. My gut is kind of hanging over my lap right now because my knees are so high. Yeah, Harley's got a winner here, man. This thing's great. I'm making that conclusion from my 5 minutes of exposure, but yeah, it really is nice. Smooth. I mean, I think if I got the foot position sorted out, I could probably ride on this thing all day. I mean, obviously may have to have a different seat. This seat is, it's okay, but I can tell it's going to have some hot spots if you were on it for like a 6 or 8 hour day or something like that. Of course, I'm riding on my Mustang seat on my Road Glide, which is like riding a Barca Lounger, so not really a fair comparison. What is this light here? Can't really, oh, never mind. I thought that was the engine light. It's the bar and shield right there in the center of the screen. Wow. I don't know about that, man. A red bar and shield right there, that could be confusing. I can't tell if it's just back. Okay, it's not even backlit. That's just the sun hitting it. Okay. I guess that's allowable then. Yeah, man, if I bought this, I think getting the foot position sorted, putting a new seat on it, and then whatever engine mods you're going to do, and then suspension feels pretty good. It'd be cool to ride it a while and see, and then maybe upgrade to, well, I can't say a set of Öhlins. There's only one shock on this thing, so an Öhlin. It's definitely balanced right and feels good though, man. Nice. Yeah, I'm assuming you can put the footboards on it since it's the same frame as the Heritage. But again, it just kind of takes away from the mission of it, you know, to be a performance type bike going around the curves and stuff. But to each his own, man. I like the performance part of it, but also with a little bit of comfort. And I mean, you know, how leaned over are you going to get on this thing? Not sure it's orthodox or not, but on the road glide, I'm always keeping my foot over to the edge of the peg, and I'll drop her down a little bit, so as I'm approaching the maximum lean, I can feel the road coming up before it touches my footboard, and then know to back off. It's always worked for me for the last 20 years, so I'm sure it'd work on something like this too. But hell, this thing, the suspension, I'm sure is sprung a little more firm and progressive, so you know, it may not dip down as much as, say, the Heritage or one of the other models. All right, watch out, Toyota. Third gear. Definitely tries to raise the front end a little bit, man. Impressive for a, you know, a stock Harley engine. Be interesting to ride maybe one of those 131s next or something, and excuse me, the 121 CVO, and see how it feels compared to this thing. Of course, it's a road glide, so it's going to be slightly heavier, but probably does have a little more power. We're almost back. Gotta go under the overpass here and take a left. And we are back. Alright. Sorry, dude. Damn. Thought we were turning in, man. My bad. Guess they're going around so we can have the bikes. Well, it don't matter because they're going to park them. Yeah, I thought he was turning in back there, but I guess we're going in the back way. C-130 flying through the air. this Las Vegas? No, I can't tell. Not Las Vegas Trail. I think that's one over. Nice robust area of Fort Worth, if you know what I'm saying. All right, now we're back. Alright, that was fun. I enjoyed it. I gotta remember to get my phone out. There we go. Those saddlebags there. Alright, well that was definitely fun, man. I like that bike. Dual front discs. Gen 2 117 motor, bags, fairing. Nice. Ready to ride the Pan America ST. The Pan America Special was already taken for this go around, so I'm going to ride this bad boy. 150 horse, Revolution Max engine. Pretty much same thing as the Pan America S, I'm sure. Of course, this is obviously for off-road. It's got the spoked rims, got a little body armor on it. ST does not. But I've never ridden a Pan America. I've sat on them before up in Sturgis at the Harley deal, but I've never ridden one. We'll see how it compares to my 1290 KTM. But that said, this is the street version, the ST, so should be fun. A pretty nice looking fleet here, man. I was going to ride the Lowrider S and the Heritage. I do not see a Lowrider S here. I only see the ST, so I don't guess I'm going to get to do those back to back. But the Pan America's nice, and maybe the Heritage will be available next time. It was already being used. So, should be fun. I guess we're fixing to have our rider briefing. Here we go. Oh, sorry. Yep, I should have had it out, man. Gotcha. Sorry about that. All right, thank you. All right, Lowrider ST. Let's see how this thing feels. See where the start button is here. So let's see. Oh, it's on top. So that's on. Oh, middle, yeah. Gotcha. Thanks. A little different. Okay, there we go. Down. See if it boots up here. Yeah, there we go. All right. There we go. Neutral. All right. All right. we recording? Yes, Pan America ST. Let's see what this bad boy is about. Definitely very smooth. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. 150 horsepower on tap, and you could feel it. I was messing with these modes here trying to cut the traction control off, but I don't know if I was successful. I'm also looking for the blinker on here. Here we go. Okay, traditional blinker like a Japanese or European bike, one button. So that's a departure from a standard Harley control. This thing sits pretty good. It's aggressive. It definitely has higher foot pegs. I'm sure the regular ST that this guy's on over here is probably a little lower, but this one is pretty tall. Of course, it's the ST, so it's made for curves and such. Alright, turning again this way. I really wish I could find what mode I'm in here. It doesn't say. And I was trying to put it in sport mode. Mode. These buttons don't seem to be working. I wonder if they've got them disabled since this is a higher horsepower bike and they don't know the skill level that's on it. I don't know. Or maybe you have to be off before you can change modes, but that seems ridiculous. So, anyway. Again, I really wish, you know, this is one of those rides where you could just cut loose, but obviously we got a road captain and a caboose on this thing, so tail gunner, is that what the Harley folks call it? I don't know. Bike is smooth, it's got plenty of power. The pegs are slightly high for me, but I mean, this is supposed to be a sport bike, so I get it. Be nice to do some canyon carving on it and see what it actually felt like. But I mean, even though these pegs are high, they're still lower than my Ducati Monster was when it was stock. I had to put some Rizoma lowering pegs on it just to have enough room. Brakes have some pretty good bite. Oh, here we go. Tweaker Geographic. I just don't see this thing bouncing around from mode to mode, so I don't think I'm doing anything. I guess whatever standard mode this is in is what we're in, so we'll go with that. Traction control. I'm holding this button in, but it's not doing anything, at least not that I'm seeing. This screen is really busy. If I owned this bike, I would want to change this screen around a little bit. I don't know. Oh, don't want that for sure. What does that say? All right, here we go. Man, I really want to rip on this thing. Feels good. I'm just kind of getting used to the controls and stuff. The brakes have a lot of grab, but it's not as grabby as my 1290. And it's certainly not as grabby as my 1200 Monster S. C130 following us around, man. All right, here we go. It is super smooth though, man. This thing is like smoother than any Harley product I've ever ridden, quite honestly. Alright, this guy's gassing it. So what gear are we in? Can't tell. Oh yeah. Sorry, I'm not saying much. I'm still getting used to this thing, man. All right, now oh yeah, now I see the gear indicator right at the bottom. Excuse me. So I guess if I get used to it, I'd know where it is. All right, 6th gear. Looks like we're turning 4,000 RPM at 67 miles an hour. 5th gear, about 42. third gear. Oh yeah. Yeah, you get her up after 5 grand, it looks got a little more power. Let's try that again. Fourth, third. Yeah. You get this thing between 5 and 6 grand, it's got some power. I mean, hell, it is 150 horse. What do you expect, you know? That's nothing to play with, man. My KTM's only 160, so. Yeah, note to self, keep it above 5 grand if you want to be in the power. I figured it would have more down low, and maybe it does, and I'm just in the wrong gear. But seems like 5 grand's the magic number. Okay, we're in 4th gear, 5 grand at 65 miles an hour. But 3rd gear, turning about 6.5. Oh yeah, she wants to launch doing that, so interesting. But you know, this is the ST. I don't know if there's any gearing changes between this and the Pan America Special, which is made for off-road. You know, you would think this thing would be a little more high gear just to wind it out on roads. Whereas that Pan America, a lot of the intended purpose is going to be putting along at, you know, sub 20 miles an hour just around, you know, on the dirt and stuff. So, okay, no wonder my ass is on fire. I cut the heated grips on, heated seat on. Damn. Thought it was getting a little toasty down there. Well, I can confirm the heated seat works quite well on an 80-degree day in April in Fort Worth, Texas. Yeah, it's fun. But this bike be for me, I don't know, man. If I was going to get one, I think I'd have to go with the Pan America S, not the ST. You know, or I keep saying S. I meant the Special, the one right behind me here that this guy's on. I mean, that is basically made for off-road. This thing's got a fairly firm suspension. It's not super firm. It's plush enough. I think you could enjoy touring on it. But for me, man, I like doing off-road. I'd rather have the other bike. It's definitely not down on power. I mean, you know, quite frankly, everybody keeps talking about, oh, it's a Harley. Harleys never make power, whatever. I mean, well, shit, dude, this thing makes 150 per the spec sheet. The new BMW GS 1300 is 145. Of course, if you're like me and you're drinking the orange Kool-Aid, Team KTM, the new 1390 Super Adventure is supposed to make around 173. I think, maybe more than that, I'm not sure. I know the new Super Duke that's coming out with the 1390 is going to be around 190 horsepower, but obviously that thing's got some maximum performance tuning on it, where the Super Adventure, just like I mentioned on this Pan America Special back there, it's got to be able to creep along in the dirt. But I like it, man. The controls are not, I guess they would be intuitive after a while, but for now I'm not really, couldn't figure out how to change the modes, even though the mode button is up here. Couldn't figure out how to cut the traction control off, even though it's, the button's right here. I like the widescreen. There does seem to be a lot of variety with it, and there's, like here, you can change screens. What am I doing here? Oh, that's a trip reset, maybe? Oh, here, a little push button. It's going through all your mileage, trip A, trip B, odometer. Wow, this thing's got 461 miles on it. But this screen, I just, there may be ways to customize it, but to me it's very, very busy. You know, it's got all your critical information here with the tach and the speed and your trip meters, but there's just, and then you got the temperature, the water temperature, all this kind of stuff, what your alternator's doing. You know, it's putting out 14.3 volts right now, but again, man, there's, I think that could be simplified, or, you know, if you had somebody to, work on that. That needs to be some improved graphic visualizations right there, for lack of a better term. And I still don't know what the hell this is bouncing around right here. I thought it might have been the traction control, but I mean, there's usually like a universal sign for that. But I'm also wondering if you gotta, for the traction control, if you have to just cut it off while you're on, the bike is off or something. I don't know. Hopefully on the Pan America Special back there that's made for off-road, you can permanently disable it, or at least it'll, you know, stay in the mode when you cut the key off, because I know on my KTM 1290, that's one of the biggest pain in the asses on the bike when I first got it, is if you're trying to ride off-road, you don't want traction control on, or at least I don't want traction control on when I'm riding in gravel. If I call for power, I want a violent response. I don't want it to, you know, cut off the power. And every time I cut the bike on, I'd have to scroll through a few screens, and it would take 10 or 15 seconds to cut it off. Well, of course, KTM sells a dongle you can plug in for an extra 120 bucks, you know, on a $20,000 bike, which pisses me off. You got to spend an extra 100 to buy that dongle, and then it will remember the ride modes you left it in when you cut the key off. So, really kind of aggravating, but at least it does have that. And hopefully the Pan America does too. And again, maybe this Pan America ST does too, and I'm just, you know, not know enough about it to do it. But it is a fun bike. That's my report so far. Fun, got a lot of power. I like it. Let's see. I can't tell if that says, I don't know. These icons are so small, it's hard for me to see, and I don't have my glasses on, so. Oh, there we go. Stop at the yellow light. Brakes are pretty good on this thing. I don't think it has enough bite as like mine, but there's a pretty good amount of heat coming off this son of a bitch too. I cannot tell what that icon is. That, oh, that's the brake hold control is on. Looks like it's got hill hold control. That activated when I got on the brakes hard. Yeah, like see, it just activated right there, and as soon as you come off, it releases. It's also got that little triangle. That may be, I don't know what's for traction control though. Anyway, I'll shut up about it. I'm fixing, this ride's fixing to be over anyway. But I'm glad I got to ride this thing. That was fun. So now we'll go back and see if we can jump on the Heritages next time. If not, we'll see if anything's open and ride that. Worth my ride to Fort Worth just to get to ride a couple of new bikes anyway, so that's always good. I always like seeing what the motor company's putting out and what it feels like. Like I said, people have been knocking them, you know, they're definitely not making the money they were in the early 2000s and mid 2000s when the bike craze was on. The market's kind of corrected, it's settled down. Nobody wants to be Billy Joe Badass anymore, which is actually a good thing. But quite honestly, I mean, everybody talks about Harley going out of business. Well, hell, they only been going out of business for what, 123 years now? So yeah, don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. They may have to course correct and downsize a little bit, but we'll see what Artie Stars is going to do with that, the new CEO they got, and see what changes he's going to make. I mean, they're actually just had some layoffs is what I read, so that sucks, man. I hate it for the guys, the blue collar guys doing the, you know, actual bills and the bread and butter and all that. I mean, if anybody needs to be laid off, it ought to be management. You know, they're so management heavy. And I mean, what corporation is not? You know, it's always the freaking people making the product are the first ones that take a hit, where everybody else just keeps their bonus and goes on working. Anyway, enough with the kind of economist rant. I think the biggest thing with Harley is just, I mean, they market more than any company in the world, but it just, I don't know how to fix it, because it's like this new generation just, and here I go sounding an old man again. Is it just because people don't want bikes, or what is the deal? You know, nobody seems to want a motorcycle anymore, and everybody seems so risk averse. Anything more than scrolling on your fucking screen seems to be an issue. I mean, nobody even gets out and meets people anymore, man. I mean, other than high school and a few other social functions, most of the people in my life I have met in one way or another because of motorcycles. And I like it that way, because we all are, you know, while we're not like-minded individuals, we have like hobbies. So anyway, I'll get off the soapbox as we're pulling back into Fort Worth Harley Davidson. But yeah, that was fun. Really enjoyed it. And let's go see what's next, man. It's kind of addictive, man. You get on Friday out goofing off and get to ride around on other people's stuff. All right, man. Just got back from the other ride and just got a last minute sign up for the Heritage. So I had my phone in here. Yep. Perfect. Yeah, looking forward to this, man. So I think I mentioned it earlier, but they did not have a lowrider ST here, so I was unable to ride that. Excuse me, correction, they did not have a lowrider S here, so I rode the lowrider ST, which I planned on. The Heritage I'm fixing to ride, which I planned on, and then I rode the Pan America ST, which was also pretty cool. So let's see, this is already in sport mode, it looks like. Yeah, sport. All right, there we go. Crank up, baby. It's in neutral. Where's my high beams here? Boop. High beam. Where's mode? I'm in sport mode. Is there a way to turn traction control off? I don't. Oh, there it is. All right, traction control off. Sport mode on. And how do we scroll this? Let's see. This one. Yeah. Yeah, there's my tack. Yeah, okay. Idling at 950, 920. Let's just make sure I'm on here. Yes, and we're on, and we're getting ready to go. So, man, this is going to be fun. This is what I've been wanting to ride. All right. Yeah, see, the leg position on this is further down. You're about up here, so it's probably like 4 or 5 inches higher on the lowrider ST. And of course, this has got the 117 also, but it's not the high output. The lowrider ST has the 117 high output. This one has the standard classic edition, I guess you call it, 117. Hey. Dang, these bikes must be fairly new because the gearbox is hard to find neutral. There it is. Let's see, we go through the mileage. 532, man. All these bikes are brand new. And it's funny because I bet they all got, like, you know, of all those 500 miles, it's probably 10 or 15 miles at a time, right? For these test rides. Yeah, this thing is smooth, man. And we're off. This ought to feel like home, man. The old Softail Heritage Classic. Excuse me. Man, it feels nice and smooth. Front brakes feel pretty good. Single disc brake on this thing, so all right, there we go. Oh yeah. This 117 ain't lazy by any means. Second gear, 30 mile an hour. Yeah, you can tell it's a different tune than that lowrider S though, man. See, that's the thing, if I bought this thing, I would be doing some serious engine mods to it to make it where it would spank that 117 high output in the lowrider ST. But, you know, it just depends. What ride do you want? I mean, this, dude, I could put around on this all day long, multiple hours. I mean, I could do 8 hours on this thing, no problem. You know, unlike the ST, the lowrider ST, where my, oh, see, I just didn't grab down, but I almost did. Yeah. Yeah, this has definitely not got as nuts cornering clearance as the ST. I can tell that already when I almost scraped the floorboard right then. The balance on this thing is outstanding though, man. I like it. It's really just two different animals, man. This thing compared to the ST. Yeah. I keep saying ST. Even though I rode the Pan America and the Lowrider ST, I'm always referring to the ST Lowrider when I'm comparing this to it. Yeah, it feels good, feels plush. Even this factory seat does not feel too bad. And usually the first thing I do is get rid of seats, but this is pretty wide. It feels pretty good. Not a lot of vibration. These new M8s are really smooth. I like this windshield too. The cool thing with this is you could, if you wanted to strip it down, you could take the windshield and the bags off. You know, and just kind of have a little soft tail. Well, I mean, you got a little soft tail, but not a dressed soft tail, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Removable bags, removable windshield. Just the classic heritage look, man. It's always been one of my favorite looking bikes in the lineup, regardless of, you know, Evo, M8, twin cam, whatever it is. It always looks great. All right, now we got some cars interfering here, but they're just trying to get over to that side. All right. Yeah, this is a lot more relaxed. Like I said, plush is the way I would describe it compared to the Lowrider ST. Lowrider ST is all business. This thing's all about comfort, man, but it's still got some pep to it. Once we get on the highway, we'll see how it feels. Like I'm putting along right now in third gear, about 1100, or no, is that the clock or is that my RPM? That looks like my clock. Let's see. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, putting along about 2300 RPM, 35-40 miles an hour. And it's not lugging the engine at all. It feels good. I mean, it still accelerates from 2300 RPM in third gear. So let's see if we can give it a little more go here when we get on the highway. It's amazing how quiet this thing is. All right. Second gear. See, it's got a little pep to it. All right, third gear, 3000 RPM. Oh yeah, it ain't slow. Sixth gear, 70 miles an hour, turning about 2500 RPM. 2530. Fifth gear, 3000 RPM. Yes, this thing, man, I could sit up here and cruise all day. I can feel just a slight hint of vibration in the seat. The handlebars and floorboards not too bad, but you definitely know you got a giant V-twin between your legs. And hey, maybe that's the way this thing's supposed to be. It is a heritage classic. So it's pretty nifty. All right, let's turn off up here. Drop her down to fourth. Let's see if we can do a little fourth gear roll on. All right, I'm at 55 miles an hour in fourth. Yeah, I got pretty good closing speed there, so that's cool. I think I could be happy as hell with this all day. I think I could be with the Lowrider ST as well, as long as I could do something with the foot position. But the thing is, man, you could put these floorboards off this bike onto it, kind of have a, you know, enough ways to change your feet around where it'd be comfortable all day. Move your feet around, I guess is the correct term. All right, getting pretty used to this little loop here. All right, I'm in sixth, so it's 65 roll on. Yeah, still got some pickup. Probably better in fifth though. Yeah, let's see. Or what about fourth? Oh yeah. Yep. What's he saying? Oh, the car in the way. All right. It handles real good. Like I said, to me, this is a lot more plush and soft than the ST suspension. So for doing mile touring and just all day riding, I think in stock configuration, the Heritage hands down is probably one of the better all around bikes, because it's got enough power to do everything you want to do. It's not slow, it's not boring, it's just comfy, man. It just works. It's probably why it's one of Harley's best-selling bikes, and has been for a long, long time. But that said, man, my performance side really likes that Lowrider ST. It's a shame they didn't have the S where I could have rode it and see what it felt like, because I mean, it's, you know, no wind protection, but it would be just as sporty as the other Lowrider ST. Yeah, that breakout this guy's on, I think it's also got the, well, I'm not sure. I think maybe it and the Fat Boy have a different tuning configuration. There's like 3 configurations of this Gen 2 117 engine. There's the high output, which is what the Lowrider S and the Lowrider ST have. There's the classic, which I know this bike and I think the breakout, or not breakout, the Street Bob have. And then that breakout that the guy in front of me's on, and the Fat Boy, I think they have one that's somewhere in the middle. I thought there was like 3 different versions, like a classic, a high output, and I don't know, I forget what the other one is. Maybe I'm off. I know there's at least 2. For some reason I was thinking there was 3 different trims, engine trims. Excuse me. I need to look that up when I get back online. But yeah, man, this kind of concludes my test ride for today. It's been awesome. I really enjoyed it. Oh, I wonder, one thing I haven't tried is, like, I've been in sport mode this whole time. Where's the mode switch? Yeah. Okay. There's a, I don't know what the highway means. Does that mean just regular mode? Okay, still got a little pep. And let's see. Okay, this is rain mode. Excuse me, man, I keep coughing. I'm coming off a cold last week. Yeah, so rain mode. Damn, glare. 5th gear. Okay, rain mode. Let's go to... Okay, now I'm back in sport mode. Yeah, it definitely feels like it's got a little more pep, but it's not a huge difference. I mean, honestly, if you're on a bike with less than 100 horsepower, do you need a fucking mode? Not in my opinion, but I guess I'm kind of old school with that. You know, I had a CBR 1000 and a ZX12 Ninja 2001 model that was basically like the throttle was either on or off. You know, there wasn't any damping. I mean, the whole, you know, the feeling on it kind of sucked, but it was just a rocket ship. And I guess when you get used to that, you know, you got a kind of a ginger wrist when it comes to, you know, when it's time to apply the throttle and pour the Kool-Aid to it. That's easy to do, but you also know the wheel may break loose. That's the other thing, all this traction control, all this bullshit. Every bike I have has traction control disabled. My driveway's on a 12-degree grade with gravel. Last thing I want is the power to quit. I don't know, kind of like I mentioned talking about off-road earlier, but traction control and ride modes are 2 things I could do without personally. If I had a choice to not pay for them, I wouldn't. Anti-lock brake system, I'm down on that technology. I don't think 90% of the riders out there, maybe even 99, can do better than ABS, so I believe in ABS. I'm also a fan of fuel injection, even though I have a couple of bikes with carburetors. But yeah, the traction control and the ride modes, I mean, whatever. My KTM's the first bike I ever had that had all that stuff on it, and I leave the traction control permanently off. I leave the ride mode in sport, which is maximum power, and I leave the ABS on. However, the caveat there is, oh, here we go. Gas it, baby. I leave the traction control on, but I have it in off-road mode where it's only active on the front tire and the rear tire will lock. So that way if I'm going around a switchback, or if I need to do a little whoop-de-doo turn around, I can lock up the back tire and sling it around real quick. Plus in the dirt it's fun to lock your brakes up too sometimes, but obviously not on the front, because front wheel quits spinning, you're immediately in the dirt, whether you want to be or not, generally speaking. But yeah, man, this has been fun. I'm digging this Heritage. I like the color on this thing, man. Harley's paint is impeccable. It always has been. I mean, people can talk shit about Harley all they want to, but their chrome finishing and paint finishing has always been A+. I'd love to get in their paint shop and see what all they're doing in there. I've seen some videos and picked up on a few things, like they had some Dur rotary atomizers in there. I've seen that before, not sure if they still have it. Got some robotic pinstriping and stuff going on, but I don't know, for those watching that may not know, my background is pretty much been doing robotic automation and paint for the last 30 years, so definitely interested in seeing what Harley does in their paint shop. I'd love to get in there and see. And this thing is so balanced, you can just walk. All right, well, just got through with the Heritage ride. My battery died somewhere along the way. I think it was right before we got back to the dealership, but either way, pretty impressed with all of it. There wasn't a big crowd today. Of course, it is Friday, probably more tomorrow if the weather's nice. But yeah, had a good time. There's the Harley fleet right there. Part of it, some of it's out, but there's the Heritage. I rode that teal and black. I rode that Pan America ST, and then of course I rode the Lowrider ST, which is not out here at the moment. It's on the ride. Pretty impressive, man. Like I said, the new bikes are nice. They're making a lot more power than the old stuff. So that was pretty impressive. Quite honestly, I'm smitten with that Lowrider ST. I think if I had to buy, if I was going to buy one, a Softail, that would be it. The Heritage is nice, but it's very, very plush, and by the time I got the engine where I wanted it to be, you know, look at this asshole. Run the stop sign, whatever, doucher. Anyway, I digress. But yeah, I like the ST. I think it was my favorite of the bikes I rode today. The Pan America ST was nice, but it's no KTM, quite frankly. I think the KTM is just a better package. I know I was on the Pan America ST, which is their street version of the bike, but I guess I'd have to wait on my judgment and ride. Get a little closer, Holmes. I guess I have to wait and ride the I can't think straight. I guess I have to wait and ride the Pan America Special, the off-road version, to see what I really think about it versus the KTM. But the street version, it was definitely peppy, had plenty of motor. I just, man, after you ride a KTM 1290, it's hard to, your expectations are pretty high when it comes to engine performance. But yeah, it was a nice ride. But back to the Softail selection, Heritage was great. It was just plush. I mean, I think if I just wanted to buy a bike and keep it stock, man, I could sit on that thing, be perched up there all day long, riding it across the country. It's just a nice, nice package. It's got plenty of power for what it is. You know, it's not a sport bike. So, all right, guy, what's going on here? Yeah, not a sport bike, so, and it's got plenty of power for a cruiser and a touring bike, which is kind of what it is. I guess I'd consider it maybe a light-duty touring bike, if you will. I mean, hell, I've been on a 6,000-mile journey on my Heritage before, 05 model, and it wasn't any problem. But it is what it is. And then the ST is, the Lowrider ST is definitely performance-based. It's got the 117 high output motor. There's no doubt the motor in it is stouter than the 117 in the Heritage. If I remember right, I think the specs were, it's a 114 horsepower for the Lowrider ST and 98 for the Heritage. Both of them is nothing to sneeze at, but it's just the Heritage doesn't even compare when it comes to getting down the road quickly. And you know, that's horsepower at the crank, so you're probably going to lose 10% by the time it gets to the rear wheel. So honestly, it's probably more like 104 and, you know, right around 90 or so for the Heritage on the ground. I mean, this Project 124 here is putting 122 to the ground, and it hauls ass. So could you imagine building a 124 or a 131 or a 1 whatever in that Lowrider package? I mean, being 300 or 400 pounds lighter and just having that much power, man, it'd be insane. So I think that's what I want to do. It's just the fact that there's a premium price there. You're probably looking at 25. Actually, the MSRP on those things is around 25, depending on which variant you get, and then you're adding tax on top of that, another $1,200–1,500. So you could easily be encroaching on 30 grand. You know, probably in the 28 range out the door. But I just have a hard time paying that for something that's essentially the same with some suspension and engine changes. And I mean, to me, the best bargain that Harley's got now is the Lowrider S. It doesn't have the fairing in the bags like the Lowrider ST, and it's 5 grand cheaper. You know, it's like 20 grand or whatever. So look at this asshole running up on me, motherfucker. Fuck you, back off. Sorry, a little road rage there. I don't usually give hand signals, but when somebody comes up on my ass like that, I do. Yeah, grandma, keep looking. Sorry you guys had to see that, but I don't fucking play when it comes to people tailgating my ass in a goddamn SUV. But anyway, I digress. Yeah, so Lowrider ST won the day for me. If I was laying down my money, that's what it would be for, but I definitely have to do some serious negotiating to get off that 25K MSRP. Maybe at one of these days Harley will negotiate, but right now I think the ST is one of their more popular bikes, so probably going to be hard to get them to come off of it, but they'll have some shit laying around from the previous year at some point and they'll want to move it. Maybe that's when I can strike. I mean, for me, I'm in no hurry to buy one anyway. I got more bikes than I can ride now. Seriously considering, you know, if I could trade in my old Softail Ethel, that's you know, it's a 05 Softail carbureted. Nobody really wants those bikes anymore, so I put it on Craigslist last year in Facebook Marketplace for 65 and didn't even have any nibbles. I dropped it down to 6 and had a couple of bites, but everybody wanted to lowball me, and I'm almost like, hell, if I can't get 5,500 for it, I'll keep the damn thing. Got too much money in it as it is. But anyway, I've been on a rant here and been moving around too much. I'm gonna tap out now, but it was a fun day test riding these bikes. It's always fun to go ride on Harley's dime, and a pretty cool experience. You know, I've got my, they take all your information, they give you a little credit card looking thing. I call it the Harley driver's license. It's a black card with the bar and shield on it, and it's got a QR code on the back or barcode. They scan it, you're already in the system. And last time I used it was up in Arkansas a few years ago, so I guess they maintain their records. But it took literally like 5 minutes to sign the waivers. They do a safety brief for about 2 minutes, essentially telling you don't be an idiot, and then you're off to the races. So that was a lot of fun. Enjoyed riding the new hardware. Not a single bike I was on today had more than, I think, 600 miles on it, so all new. But yeah, that's it for today, man. Really enjoyed all that stuff, and if I ever make a decision or pull the trigger, obviously you guys will be the first to know. But man, it just, all I can say is if you go test ride, don't take your checkbook with you, because you'll be wanting to do something stupid before it's over with. All right, thanks guys, we'll see you on the next one.